Good morning. Today we read one of the best loved passages in all of the Bible, Psalm 23, along with 24 and 25. But Psalm 23 is such a psalm of comfort, of grace, of hope, of promise. You know, the Lord is my shepherd, and a shepherd. The shepherd in Jesus' day, well, in the Old Testament as well, a shepherd basically lived with the flock and was watching out and protecting and guiding and then the next I shall not want. I have everything I need. I lack nothing. God is everything I need. In God I'm complete, and all of those things. And then, the good shepherd, it says he makes me lie down in broad valleys, where they're in still waters. Still waters are calming. Rapid rushing waters, can be terrifying, can be, intimidating. But, the still waters, it's a place where you can drink safely and you can be, they're just soothing. And, there's nothing like, sitting along the lake shore in an evening when it's peaceful and calm and you got a little campfire and the water is just still like glass, still water, just such a calming influence as well. Water can be roiled up too, but this image here is the God of comfort, the God of peace, the God of completeness. That he brings it all to us. He restores my soul, my whole being. He takes away all my worries, all my cares. I don't have to worry about my sin and the ways of Satan and all of that, because God has provided. And why does he do that? For his name's sake. And when David wrote this psalm, he knew of God, but we know of Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God, the namesake of God, and we liken to this, the Lord is my shepherd, to Jesus and to his parables of the good shepherd and different things as well. I like the King James and the New King James Version. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We live on this earth and we know that our lives are finite. They're going to end. And so every day we have this shadow of death looming over us, because thankfully we don't know when the day of our death will arrive. To walk through the valley of the shadow of death is more intimidating to me than to walk in the darkest valley. The darkest valley, he makes me to lay down in green pastures, broad valleys, safe places as well. But, that God is with us in life and death. And it's, Paul wrote, that I am convinced that neither life or death nor life, or life nor death, will separate us. And we don't, he goes on, I fear no evil, for you are with me. And you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. When everything else is going bad, you provide for me. And, surely or certainly or only goodness and mercy will follow me or pursue me, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. And most of you are probably familiar with it. I underlined the first three words, the Lord is. And then in the middle of verse 4, I'll underline two words, with me, and the very last word, forever. The Lord is with me forever. Sums it all up, that we have everything we need. And, as the Bible I have out here, it says that even though I walk in the darkest valley and I will dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. It just doesn't have quite the sounding to me. I have a friend that, just really loves the original King James Version, that Martin Luther would have written in with the thous and the these and those words that way. And so I'm kind of, not stuck way back. I shouldn't say stuck. I'm not way back there, but I guess I know what I like when I'm reading. And sometimes some of the newer translations I do enjoy. But I like that, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. wonderful words of comfort. And this psalm is one that I don't know if I could even tell you of a funeral that I didn't use or read this psalm or refer to this psalm. And families enjoy it and often request it, and sometimes have it printed in the funeral folders because of the comfort that it's offered. Psalm 24 is a psalm that they would use. It's the beginning of worship. We have some songs in our hymnals and stuff that are gathering songs and stuff, and this was one of the psalms that was used more often kind of at the beginning as they were coming together, and a song of praise. The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, the world and those who live in it. He's founded it on the seas, established it, and so it's talking about God. And who shall ascend to the hill of the Lord? Who shall stand there? And again, it's those who are faithful, those who follow God's rules and God's law. And again, this is one of those psalms that has that Selah word, S-E-L-A-H in it. And when my eyes are almost trained that they just kind of ignore that word, and just kind of go on. But yet it's, you have a little interlude there that way, and just to stop for a few seconds and to think about what was just here. Such is the company of those who seek him, who enter or who seek the face of the God of Jacob. And then a little pause to think about that phrase, and it, this verse 10, who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts, he is the King of glory. So, a hymn of praise, a hymn of gathering, of coming together in all of those things. Psalm 25 is David's thinking about his enemies and thinking about the trouble that's around him again. But a psalm of praise, of certainty that God is with him. Oh, to you, O Lord, I lift my soul. Oh my God, in you I trust. And he's trusting in God, and then he says, do not let me be put to shame. Don't let my faith and my trust in you be unfounded. And our faith in God is not unfounded at all. I mean, our faith in God is one of the best foundations that we can have for a life to get on and to go and to just to lead us through life, and so in God I put my trust, and I know that I won't be put to shame because of that. And if someone starts to belittle me because I believe in God, you can't argue someone into faith. You show them your faith, and it's just, faith is one of those things that I am absolutely positive of that way. And verse 10, all paths of the Lord are steadfast love and faithfulness for those who keep his covenant and his decrees. All the paths of the Lord, all the ways of the Lord, everything the Lord does is steadfast love and faithfulness, and it's just, great comfort in those words as well, that this is what the Lord wants for us. The Lord isn't going to lead us down a path of destruction. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. That comes from Psalm 23, and it is. I mean, the paths of the Lord, the ways of the Lord, the laws of the Lord are going to lead us and guide us to right living, to faithful living. In verse 10 here, an admission of guilt and a prayer again. For your name's sake, O Lord, pardon my guilt, for it is great. Think about that. For it is great. Pardon my guilt, for it is great. And why should God forgive me? For his name's sake. In the New Testament, we'll read that, even when we are not faithful, God is faithful, because he can't be anything else. So for his name's sake, pardon my sins, pardon my guilt, for it is great. And, there's not a one of us that isn't guilty. There's not a one of us that doesn't sin. Some may sin more, but There's not a one of us that doesn't need the love and grace and forgiveness of God. And so here's King David, pardon my guilt, for it is great. And then the last verses 19 through 22 here, consider how many are my foes, with what violent hatred they hate me. Guard my life, deliver me, do not let me put to shame. My integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I await you. So, he's again pleading with God to protect him, to protect his name, to protect his goodwill, protect his life, because of those who are working against him and backbiting and slandering him and working against him. David prays, for strength, for God's intervention in all of those things. And then a prayer for all people, for the whole nation. Redeem Israel, O God, out of its troubles. And man, can we pray that today? Redeem the world out of its troubles, and I can't just say the United States, I can't say any one country. I have to redeem the world out of its troubles, because there are troubles all over, and we need God's intervention. And I think that that's something that we as Christians can pray for, should pray for, and that, that all people would know God as their shepherd, that they would know God as this good shepherd who leads them, guides them, loves them, forgives them, because our guilt is great.